I'm Tom with Campy World. We pulled into a campsite today. We're going to turn around and hook up the shore cord, the power cord. This is a 30 amp unit. Most of them are twist locks nowadays. I grabbed the cord, open up the little thing. It says this is where we connect the 30 amp shore cord. If you look at the end of it, there's one blade that's a little odd compared to the other one. It's got a little hook on it. You look at the place I'm plugging it into, one terminal's got a hook. It's that simple. Just look at this end, look at this end. Put it on, quarter of a turn, not even. Take the little locking mechanism, thread it on. Now it's secure, it's not going to fall off. If you notice, I did not plug in the short cord into the pole at the campground yet. I don't want this thing live. I want to get this hooked up, get it all ready. Now I'll take the cord and walk over to the pole and plug it in. So we hooked up the shore power to the trailer. That's all ready to go. Now we just need to hook it up to the pole at the campground. This is a 30 amp. It's a little different. Some people have 50 amps. It's just a much bigger cord. This is the standard in the industry for the smaller vehicles. It's just a giant household plug. It's just bigger. We get to the box at the campground. We open it up. We look inside. There's a breaker. And the breaker is a 20 amp and a 30 amp. We just turn those breakers off. We take the plug, we put it in the receptacle, and we turn the breakers back on. The reason we do that is, let's say it's pouring out rain out here. I'm standing in a puddle. I'm plugging a 30 amp cord into it. Let's say I left the AC on. There's a big draw. It's just waiting to go on. As I'm plugging it in, it could spark. Scare the living crap out of you. By turning the breakers off prior to plugging it in, there's no power at the plug. I can get it plugged in, make sure everything's tight, then I'm just flipping a switch. Much safer. So now we got it hooked up to shore power. We have power in the vehicle, now we want to bring water to the vehicle. The campsite has water at a spigot right next to the connection for the power cord. All I need to do is bring their water to ours. So what you want to do is purchase the proper hose. That's for fresh water, potable water. It is designed just for RVs and bringing fresh water to an RV. You don't want the old garden hose that laid out in your garage for 20 years, those green and black ones that smell like rubber. It has to be the right hose. All we need to do is find on ours where we call a city water fill, and they even put a nice label here. It's a hose connection. Pop the cover off. There's a hose connection in there with a gasket and a little screen to keep out the big stuff. You need to know that is where you're going. It is properly labeled. I know this is where I put on the city water, the fresh water. Just take your hose, take the end, install it into the side of your RV. Tighten it down just like any other thing. The problem is the weight of the hose over time bends and it kinks it. So what we do, we like to use a 90 degree. That way, when I hook it on, the hose is going straight down. It doesn't want to kink over the weekend. The big thing with hose connections is if you walk past anyone else's RV, you see the water dripping constantly. And they go over there with a pair of pliers and they try to tighten the hose up more and more and more until they finally break something. It's real simple. When you put a standard hose connection together, it has to have a gasket in it. It wears out very fast and all the time. If that gasket is not in where you're putting the hose, it's going to leak. You can tighten it up with pliers all you want. So I got a package of hose washers. Every RV should have a pack or two of these. If you tighten the hose up by hand and it's still dripping when you're done, change the gasket. It's that simple. There is no reason to have this water on the outside of your RV just dripping all weekend. So what I'm going to do is make my life easy. I'm going to take the 90 degree, screw it on my fresh water hose. Whatever water is coming to our RV has to come through a hose that's safe to use in the RV for cooking, showering. So make sure you buy the right product for what you're doing. So let's go over to the spigot and hook up a couple other things so we keep the camper clean during the weekend. So we're going to hook up the fresh water to our RV. We're We're at the spigot at the campground. I have no idea about the campground, but I want to use their water over the weekend, wash my dishes, take a shower, use the facilities. So the first thing I do at the spigot is I have no idea what their water pressure is. So I don't take any chances. They sell a simple little device, a water regulator. It holds the water pressure to 40 to 50 psi to my RV. I put it on the spigot first. I'm not sure what the water quality is. I don't know if they have sand down in the bottom of the well. I have no idea. I don't want that in my RV. Cheap, easy, inline water filter. Goes on the spigot before it even gets to my RV. It's going to take out sediment. Each filter that you buy claims it does something else. What I'm using it for is to catch any sediment. I don't want sand in the other end. So I just take this bad boy, I screw it right on my regulator. Now we take our drinking water hose that's going to the RV, and I'm going to use this one as a demonstration. This is so if you wanted to bend it, it won't kink, but it just goes on the bottom of it. Once we get everything hand tight, you shouldn't need to use pliers. I just run the hose, we already have it hooked up to the RV. We just hook this all up, we turn on the spigot, and we hurry up back to the RV. The reason I say that is, did you leave that kitchen faucet open? It seems like a lot. Everything has a purpose. We need to make sure we only have 40 to 50 psi in the RV of pressure. We need to catch any kind of particle floating in the system, and we need a freshwater drinking hose, drinking water hose, something that is rated for potable water to the RV. I hope you found this video helpful. If you want to see more, subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.